Hey, you wild thing. Welcome back to the show. And if you're new here, hello. I am Renee Warren, your host of Into the Wild. And I am bringing back a topic that I find really important to a lot of women who are afraid of leaning in and promoting themselves. We think we have to have this magical equation figured out to actually grow our authority. So, we're going to talk about this. But of course, before we kick off the episode, I want to mention if you haven't already got your tickets for the Pink Skirt Project, it's an event that I'm co hosting with my friend Anita. It's been a dream of mine for years. It is on June 12th of this year in Kelowna, BC. We have already sold out of one tier of tickets, and the other ones are selling on the daily. I believe this event's going to sell out. So if you are free June 12th and you want to come out to Kelowna, BC, or maybe you already live here, grab your tickets, hang out with us, because there are some women, actually every single person hitting that stage at that event has built authority around their expertise, around who they are, their personal brand, and they're going to be sharing a lot of the secrets and the tips that they use to actually become recognized globally for some of the work they do. We're still in the process of confirming these keynotes, but let me tell you, I am so stoked, and I would pay thousands of dollars to see this group, this lineup of people coming out to this event. So let's kick things off. So who am I to be the one to talk to you about authority? I don't have a million followers. I do not have a million subscribers. I don't have a lot of people that know who I am. The funny thing is that I do have authority. And all the years I was doing public relations, PR for other companies, I learned very quickly the tricks and even the facade about what it means to be an authority in your space and what it means for your business. Hands down, if there was only one thing I could do to grow my business, and any recommendation I would have for anybody, any size business, would be to grow their authority, to position themselves as the expert in the space by first starting to network, building the network. Because it is a slog. It is a lot of work. It's consistent weekly deposits into attending events, going to events, speaking on master classes, speaking on stages, offering your time, offering your services, just getting your name out there. You can't start from the top. You got to start from the bottom and work your way up. Everybody has. So let's dive into this. I want to ask you this, just this, picture this kind of scenario. You know that moment when maybe you're sitting at your desk or you're standing, maybe you have a walking desk, and you're wondering if you're really cut out for this, throw in the towel moments. And I've had these so many times for every single business I've run, including this podcast. So maybe you're looking at other entrepreneurs in their field who seem to have it all figured out. They're getting featured in major publications, they're landing speaking gigs, they're on the top podcasts. You happen to open up a podcast that you listen to, and there's your competitor, kind of makes you feel little inside. And you probably think your product or service is better than theirs. You've been at it for way longer than them. Why are they the ones that are actually getting the attention? You see, I've been there before. I'm still there today. And here's what I've discovered, that those entrepreneurs, they are not unicorns. In fact, a lot of these people will say they're high school dropouts. They never went to college. They got kicked out of their house when they were 15 years old. Some of them might be even hoodlums. They might have a criminal background. Some of these people are just not what you would expect in terms of being the authority that you think they are. It's not to say you need to have a colorful past or have a chaotic childhood in order to be an authority. No. Here's what I discovered. They also didn't get lucky. And they definitely didn't wait for someone to give them permission to be known for who they are. You see, the truth is that authority building, it isn't about having the most experience. It's definitely not about having the fanciest credentials. It's about understanding how to harness your unique perspective and expertise in a way that genuinely serves others. It's a way of leaning in so much to the thing that you're passionate about that people get excited, even if it's a topic they don't care about. So I call this, what we're going to talk about today, is the Authority Accelerator Framework. It's transformed my businesses. It's transformed people that I've worked with and other people that I've chatted with. So another accelerator, another framework, I get it. But here's the thing. And the reason why I'm only committing to wanting you to commit to these 90 days and not a whole year of content creation and a whole year of creating authority, it's that I'm just going to walk you through the simple steps. The lasting authority can build you in your industry. This is no manipulation. There's no pretense. It's just proven strategies, and it's quite simple. I mean, you can go onto ChatGPT, you can go onto Google, you can get this whole framework for you. This is from years of pitching the media, pitching journalists and reporters, pitching podcast hosts and other influencers, and I know what works. And it all starts from reaching up and grabbing that low-hanging fruit. Even if this person or this community seems at your level or maybe not as distinguished or developed as yours, it still starts by looking at where are the places I can provide immediate value. Okay, so if you're ready to build authority really quickly in 90 days, let's get wild here. So first is the authority myth. This is so important to start with. So why do most people get authority building wrong? Because they think it's about spending money on ads. It's about getting in all the media. It's about clawing their way up and stepping all over toes, or being super smart or super rich or super connected. Some of these things definitely help. But when you're first starting out, it actually comes down to this. And this is with anything in life: discipline, consistency, and testing. The discipline to commit to something, to make the decision to show up every day as is planned. The consistency to never give up. It doesn't have to be perfect every day, but it has to go according to plan. And the flexibility to trial and error, to test what works and what doesn't, to go back and review the analytics to understand, oh, people actually like this content, to poll your audience, to really be thoroughly involved on us every single day. That's what it means to build authority. It is consistency, discipline, trial and error, and depositing daily value into your community. But I want to talk about experience and expertise, because when we think about authority, we think about somebody that has all this experience. And that's not necessarily true, because the two are very distinguished. And I think it's incredibly important for you to learn this. So this is actually something that holds back a lot of female entrepreneurs. It's the idea that you need decades of experience before you can actually claim expertise in your field. Malcolm Gladwell says you become an expert when you've clocked 10,000 hours of doing something repeatedly. Sure, there's probably some merit in that, but it's not necessarily true. Because here's the truth. The experience and expertise, they're two completely different things. Experience is what happens to you. It is the years you spent doing something, the projects that you've worked on, the clients that you served. But expertise, that's what you do with that experience. You see the difference? Think about it this way. You could spend 20 years doing something the same way, never questioning anything, never innovating, never really understanding the why behind what you do. So that's experience. But expertise, that's about taking what you've learned, analyzing it, finding patterns, and developing insights that create real value for others. So when I first started in public relations, I had competitors who had been in the industry for decades. They had all the contacts. They had literally put a number on the phone, dial the person up and say, so-and-so wants to be on the Today Show, and it would happen. I didn't have that. But what I had was, and what set us apart from all these different years of experience between us and the people who have already established themselves, It was my ability to see patterns in what made pitches and what made approaching PR successful, to understand the psychology behind why some stories got picked up while others didn't, and to develop a system to approach getting the results that we expected. This is why someone with 5 years of thoughtful, intentional practices can often outperform someone with 20 years of just going through the motions, of just clocking in and clocking out. Expertise isn't about time served. It's about, one, deep understanding, going beyond the what to understand the why behind your success and failures. Think about any proactive doctor. We know doctors that have been in practice for 10 years, 20 years, and because of their, what's the word I'm looking for? Tenure, that we look up to them. But if they're not actually innovating, if they're not actually questioning the what or the why, they're not experts. They just have experience. So the other thing is pattern recognition, seeing connections and trends that others miss. That's taking your little experience and creating expertise, because now you're curious and you're bringing to light something that's new, it's innovative. Then there's the innovative application, taking what you know and applying it in the new and applying it in more effective ways. There's continuous learning, actively seeking out new perspectives and approaches, and finally, focused problem solving, using your knowledge to create real solutions for your customers or clients. What's important in all of this is that when you show up to the start line and you're looking ahead of you and you're already seeing there's people that have been running this marathon for years, it's really discouraging. It actually stops a lot of people or slows them down or pulls them back. They'll think, oh, I'll do this tomorrow, maybe next week or next year. Sure, they may have already ran the marathon, but you might be showing up to the start line running your first ever race, but having done the work to study the best nutrition, the best hydration, the best running shoes, the best form, asking questions about heart rate and zones and all this stuff, being equipped with new information. And guess what happens? You are probably more prepared for this race than the people that have already been running it, because they just got so used to running it. Everything became a pattern for them. Everything became expected. They just kept doing the same thing. So when that gun goes off and you start this marathon, you are just crushing them. So here's the game-changing realization. You don't need permission from anyone to develop expertise. You just need to be intentional about how you learn from everything that you've done and how you analyze what works and what doesn't. And most importantly, how you use that knowledge to create values for others and to teach other people this method as well. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, I don't have this experience, ask yourself instead, what expertise have I developed from this experience, and how can I apply this to provide value? Because that is where authority is built. This is why you see boomers and some older millennials, maybe myself, looking at these Gen Zs, these like 18-year-olds who are crushing TikTok and are making millions of dollars a year. And we think to ourselves, well, gosh, if it were that easy, then I should be doing it too. They're lazy. That's it. They're lazy. They figured something out. They're not true entrepreneurs. No, they've actually figured something out, something that you're not doing. If you did everything that they did for your industry, maybe you would be just as successful. So authority isn't about knowing everything. It's about being the go-to resource for something specific, which leads us into another framework, which is the Authority Accelerator framework. And here's really quickly how we're all going to do this. I already laid down the psychology, the mindset in this, and these tactics and strategies that I'm going to share with you now are not new. Here's the thing. They're so applicable to anybody. And these might be a gentle reminder, or these might be new information for you. How this all goes together, you'll find out. So first, most important, narrow your niche. I mean, it's so specific that you can put a name to this person and you know what flavor of soda they like. And why is because you need to know the psychology of what's happening inside their heads, where they're hanging out, what they're listening to, what they're reading, because that's where you're going to insert yourself into those conversations. So this is the power of being super specific about something. Then you got to figure out how to find your authority sweet spot. For instance, the title sponsor for the event that I'm hosting here on June 12th, the Pink Skirt Project, go to thepinkskirtproject.com, check it out. Her name is Michelle Sands. She has a company called Glow Natural Wellness, and she helps with like hormone stuff, menopause, perimenopause, hot flashes, night sweats, sleep stuff, all the things that happen to middle-aged women. She has a program, she has supplements, she's got a lot of stuff, and she's doing really, really well. Now, when she pitched her topic idea, I was like, well, I don't really want somebody to stand on stage to talk about hot flashes. Like, how does this get unique? Here's how she got super specific, which even to me was like, what? She wants to talk about libido. I don't know if you know this, but as you get older, your libido tends to drop. So for many things, but for women going through perimenopause and menopause is a big deal. I always associated libido to sex drive, which is also very true. And it's probably what most people know this for. However, she knows that libido is more than sex drive. Libido is motivation, it's inspiration, it's being turned on in a sense for the work that you're doing, for the life that you're living. So her talk about libido is actually going to teach women in the room how to increase their libido so they have more drive for living their life and by default having a better sex life. I thought that was so cool. What a way to get super niche about a topic that, seems to be on every podcast these days. So she took her experience and created something super niche in her expertise because she knew this is the content that people wanted. So the next thing, you have to create your authority stack. So what does that mean? It means coming up with your frameworks. It means coming up with your personal IP. It means turning your perceived maybe weaknesses into differentiators. This is coming up with your story angles, with the three things that you can talk about ad nauseum. If someone said, hey, you have to go on stage right now in front of 1,000 people and talk about one subject for 20 minutes, that's the thing that you're going to talk about over and over again. Because remember, people don't need to be taught so much as they need to be reminded. So go and remind your people how great you are. The next is building that engine. So there's a thing called like the content cascade method, where you have essentially like a big piece of content you can chop up into a million pieces. This podcast, it's really a YouTube show turned into a podcast, turned into reels, shorts, Facebook and LinkedIn stuff. And we have a whole process for this. And our team isn't even that big. We're able to do it because we've created the process. What we did was we've leveraged the process for one channel. And as we got good at that, then we opened up a new channel. As we got good at that, so on and so forth. It's a slow drip of consistency. So you build this content engine, you turn everyday work into valuable insights, you get over yourself, get over your fear of judgment, and just show up and do the thing. Ask for the interview, ask for the pitch, ask to be a guest on a show. You just have to ask. You have to put yourself out there. It's the discipline and it's the consistency, and it's about the trial and error, remember. So your 90-day authority blueprint can look something like this. Okay, this is up for you to figure out. The reason why I say 90 days and not a year is because after 30 days, even after 60 days, the more you do this, the more insight you'll get. And so if you put out an annual plan where every single week you have this concrete, it's not going to work for you, especially in the world of content. Content is so much more in the now. And so you have to put stuff out there, look at the analytics. Whatever takes off, do that again. Do more of that. So that's why I say a 90-day plan. The blueprint starts by choosing your lane, right? I know, like I just had Lori Harder on my show. Go check out episode 335 with Lori Harder. Incredible episode. And it's funny because I was going on all my platforms to tag her, and she's not on every single platform, nor is she active on every single platform. She found her authority lane, which was and is Instagram. That's where she lives. That's what works for her. And she's not distracted by the busyness of something else. Now, you can go and test it. Also depends on your industry. Choose the lane, audit your existing knowledge. What insights do you have? What opinions do you have? What new information do you have that you can share with your people? Create some signature frameworks. Let me tell you, ChatGPT or Claude, you go throw in some content, you say, can you come up with a framework? And you dabble with it. It puts out some really killer stuff. So trust this process. Now you can be as committed as saying, I'm going to do, if Instagram is your authority lane, do one reel, one post, one carousel per week, and then do stories every single day. And I'm telling you, direct to camera. People want to know you. If you want to build your authority, it's not about creating these faceless accounts. It's not about holding yourself away and being too shy. If you're adamant about building that authority, you have to show up. My friend Jen Gottlieb does this thing. She's like, get ready with me. I think every single morning on Instagram, she goes live. That takes discipline and consistency and trial and error. And it works for her. Her count is growing. Her authority is growing. People are starting to recognize her more and more. That works for her. And the most important thing in these first 30 days is create the system, the backbone for continuous networking. Make introductions, comment on people's content, share their stuff, like their stuff, offer to write a blog post, offer to do something. The networking is crucial because the more you grow that, the more you can teach those people, the more they're going to share that content with other people. Remember, this is slow and consistent. So when you're looking at the content you've created those first 30 days, go back and really review the analytics. It's really not hard. If you have an assistant, have them do it. Create a metrics tab in your dashboard and look at the growth over your accounts over the 30 days. So then the next 30 days, this is where you want to really emphasize the content, the distribution, times of day. Like we learned that 9 a.m. PST on Instagram is actually the best time of day for me to be sharing my posts and reels. So now we know, but it takes time to collect that information. So you need to establish your platform presence. How are you going to show up? And show up in a way that's not like what everybody else is doing. Do your own thing. Like don't even look at what other people are doing. Create and deliver the content the way you would want to receive it because you are your first customer. And then start really having those industry conversations with the media, with journalists, with other podcasters. Go and find other people that have shows, follow them, like their stuff, DM them, engage. And then the final 30 days, this is where you're amplifying everything that works. And this is your ticket to start collaborating with experts, to start maybe securing speaking opportunities, and then actually using case studies now to share. So I'd say one of the biggest things in the initial days that really helped me grow my account with like really serious good followers was collaborations. It was maybe doing a giveaway together with somebody that already had an established audience. Maybe it was inviting these people on a live or doing a master class together. It's kind of like, it's called borrowing someone else's audience. Leveraging content leverage is what we'll talk about in a second. So the key authority accelerators is borrowed authority, right? These are strategic partnerships, expert interviews, industry associations. That's instant authority. So for me, when I started with only interviews, I always looked at in my circle who were the experts in those specific fields, and I would have them as a guest on the show. I did that so much in order to, build my podcasting backbone to become better at conversations and more comfortable on camera to the point where I could actually do solo episodes. And to this day, most of my solo episodes now outperform the episodes I have with very notable people. It's pretty crazy. So then it's content leverage, repurposing stuff that works, techniques, platform selection. The visibility hacks too is media features. Here's the thing about media. And I know this to be true, that if you are kind, you're courteous and giving, and you actually have niche content that's super specific and you're growing your account, journalists will say yes to you, maybe even over people that have been in the industry for 20 years. You're showing intent, you're showing curiosity, and you're sharing really cool messages. They align with that shared values, and journalists and reporters will say yes to reaching or to having a conversation with you. So visibility, you really have to be inserting the value, which is like the most important thing. Don't just show up to do it for the sake of it. Like, what's the value in that? Just like these solo episodes for me, every single solo episode comes with like a slew of notes, and it's back and forth with my assistant. What's the content I want to share? How do I want to share it? What stories am I sharing? Because visibility without value is vanity. I'm not going to show up here and talk about me, 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 me. I use me as examples, but really what I'm doing is creating content delivered for you to provide you the value. See, authority comes at this intersection of visibility and impact. So those two grow. As your visibility grows, your impact should grow, right? They go in tandem together. So here are some action steps for you. Identify your current expertise. What are 1 to 3 things that you're really good at, regardless of how long you've been doing it? You're good at it, you love it, you have so much information around it, and you're super passionate about it. Then map your knowledge gaps. And then those knowledge gaps are things that you just avoid. And if you get asked a question about it, then I don't know, go and research it so you can answer it better next time. You can always say, I don't have enough information about that. I've been interviewed on shows and I'm like, I don't know. It's okay to not know. List your unique experiences. What are cool stories you can share? Because people remember stories. So here's a 24-hour visibility challenge. The next 24 hours, or maybe this is something you start tomorrow, create something unique, a valuable piece of content. Then go and engage with 3 industry leaders, and then share 1 unique insight with them and with your people. Because when it comes to building authority, this is actually your resume to growth in business, because the more you can actually grow your personal brand, the easier it is to get clients and deals and investors. If people just know who you are and the real you, it's easier to grow your business. And let me talk about authenticity here too. If you're showing up, and maybe at first it does feel fake because it's really tough for you, but if you're showing up and it's really fake, it's really tough for you to show up, it's going to show. People are going to see that. They're not going to believe you. They won't trust you. This is why when you share about the stuff you're super passionate about, it's not only easier, it actually works in your favor. So this 90-day expert, it's really about this discipline, the consistency, the trial and error, and then going back and doing it over and over and over again. It's about creating space in your calendar to be creative, to put yourself out there. People always ask, Renee, how do you do it? It's like, well, I create the systems so that my time energy is focused on the things like doing this episode. You see what I mean? That's why I got out of the world of PR. That's why I'm into the world of monetizing my show, which I have done, which is incredible, and into the world of creating events. And I did all of this because I have an assistant, and it is absolutely one of the most important things you can do to grow your business. And the cool thing is that the sponsor of the show is Linked VA, LINKEDVA.com. If you're hesitant about getting your first assistant, I highly recommend them. They have people that work with them, experts that can help you with project management, with your calendar, with your email, with accounting stuff, like stuff that you really should not be focusing on. And this gives you time leverage to be able to focus on this stuff so you can become an expert in 90 days. I'm not saying Mel Robbins will be calling, but this is definitely a step up in building your authority, which to this day is still one of the most valuable assets you can do in growing your business. So if you have any questions about this, please direct message me on Instagram, Renee_Warren. Until next time, ladies, peace out.